What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I want to talk to you guys today about Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs. This is the official recap of that fight. I had friends of the channel inboxing me because they wanted to gamble or whatnot. And hey, if they would have picked my advice, they actually would have won. I wouldn't advise that because that's not always accurate, okay? That's why I don't gamble anymore. I don't gamble anymore. From when I first started this channel, I told people, I don't gamble. You know what I mean? Because you never know in the sport of boxing, but this was how I saw it. And how I saw it was true, okay? You know, Danny Jacobs came in working the jab, rounds 1 and 2. He was working the jab, probing with the jab, but then getting countered quickly, okay? And rounds 1, he did okay in 2 against Canelo. I would give Canelo 1. Jacobs the second round, because Jacobs did start throwing flurries. He was showing his speed and elusiveness in there with Canelo, okay? But Canelo with the upper body movement, and something about Canelo, he proved to people. You know, people used to call him cement feet, and he doesn't have very good footwork. You know something? With the upper body movement that he has, the subtle movements from side to side that he has, and and the rhythm that he uses, because that rhythm is kind of like he'll go side to side, almost similar to a Jersey Joe Walcott if Jersey Joe did not use his foot movement. You know what I mean? It's almost like someone, you ever seen someone dancing in a car? They don't use their legs, right? But they're dancing with their upper body. That's exactly what Canelo Alvarez did. Okay, that's what he does. And since Jacobs couldn't get that rhythm of that dipping and dodging, that movement, that upper body movement that Canelo had, Canelo was able to, because he was able to throw his own counter punches. And he's good at accenting punches. And when he accented those punches and lands something, that excites the crowd. Believe it or not, people, the crowd, the venue, that's what influences the judges. It can. Those judges, they see everything going around them. So when Canelo does something, the crowd goes ecstatic, okay? So Jacobs' third round, that was a Canelo round. Fourth round, Jacobs was just now getting his rhythm. He was just getting the rhythm of Canelo at that time, but that was already 4 rounds in. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if you didn't get it. You don't have time to not or to start slow with Canelo. You don't. Fighting a high profile fight like that, fighting one of the highest paid, the cash cow. And he's a very fucking good fighter. See, people forget that. People talk about the politics. Yeah, you should, because they exist. But you actually got to go in there and execute a good game plan. Okay? Jacobs, by the time he figured, I don't know if, maybe Rozier, his trainer Rozier, told him, hey, I think you're up. I think this and that and the other. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like a landslide. It wasn't. It wasn't that type of fight, people. Because rounds 5, 6, 7, and 8, Canelo buckled him some with the jab. You know what I mean? With the countering that he was doing. And he did come in to execute some punches of his own to try to crowd Jacobs. And then Jacobs' defense I give his defense about 70%, because Canelo was able to give punches to Jacobs that he really didn't supposed to get hit with all those punches like he did, but he did. And it also shows you that Canelo was very good at his punch placement. His punch placement is excellent. So he's learning how to counter punch, see those openings coming, explode those holes, with those openings. So he was able to do that with Danny. But he was not able to just beat Danny up like he did Chavez or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because Danny was still quick, bigger, elusive. and he threw those flurries. Those flurries bothered Canelo, so that's why Canelo kind of stood back and worked his center line with Jacobs. So if he came in the middle of that center line, he was open season for a jab or a left hook. Every so often you see he'll throw a right hand, but depends on what stance Jacobs was in, because Jacobs would switch stances, and when he switches stances, that gives him a whole new thing of openings to exploit. So, Jacobs around the 8th, 9th round, he started coming in, working the body more, and start throwing flurries. That was a good change. That was a good adjustment for Jacobs. The only problem is he started too late, because had he started that like rounds 4 or 5, now he might have got caught with something that hurt him or that buckled him more. He got buckled a couple times, kind of buckled him off balance, so to speak. But it would have been a better fight to score, and he would have had more opportunities. But then again, Canelo is good with people. The more punches you throw, the more you leave yourself open. And Canelo did that anyway. Canelo fought within the punch pattern of Jacobs. That's the thing of counterpunching. That's what he was able to do in this fight. And it's crazy because it kind of reminded me of Jake LaMotta versus Sugar Ray Robinson. I think it was the 5th fight that they had. LaMotta was able to jab and use his jab, being the shorter guy, against Sugar Ray to work himself inside and to do damage. Now, this fight wasn't as, action-packed as a fight like that, but it was the same method because Canelo was the shorter guy, shorter reach, right? But was able to use his jab, being the shorter guy, with his upper body movement. Come in, dip under, and he was very good at his defense. Now, Canelo's defense was about 87%, okay? He had his defense. He showed great defense in that. He showed a lot of that. He impressed me in the Austin Trout fight. Even when, we knew that he had a problem with stamina, but he was still able to duck punches, using certain adjustments and certain things from other fighters that I know is not a textbook Mexican style. No. And speaking of Mexican style, I think that Jacobs used his African style too late. Like Bernard Hopkins says, his urban style, to be politically correct. But I think he started that too late. I think if he would have started that earlier, it would have been more risky, but it would have been a more exciting fight, and he would have had better chances to win. However, about rounds 9, Jacobs was able to hit Canelo flush 2 to 3 times in the southpaw stance with actually it was a left cross or a chopping hook, because he chopped with it. Okay, so he caught Canelo, and Canelo took that punch very well. The boy got a chin. That's another thing about Canelo. It ain't that, he's cool and shit with the judges and all that. He's a very, very good fighter. And top of that, you can't knock this motherfucker down or out. You know what I mean? Now, the good thing is, this is not like the Golovkin fight, because, Jacobs went down. He went down in the 4th round. He didn't do any of that. I think that's what made it actually closer. 115 to 113, and then 116 to 112 on the scorecard. That's not a bad, it wasn't really a bad decision to me. Because I already knew, hey, this isn't any regular fighter you're fighting. You have to understand that this is an elite fighter, and he's the A-side fighter, and you have to do some elite and some A-side shit to beat that elite and A-side fighter. You just have to. If you don't, you won't win. Point blank, period. Ask Mayweather about his majority win over him. Ask Lara about the split decision loss over him, which he never got a rematch. Ask Golovkin about the draw and the close loss that he took to Canelo. So yes, it's going to be very, very difficult to beat an elite fighter like Canelo. And I'm going to tell you, to top it all off in the 12th round, when it could have went either way. Canelo was smart enough to wrap up Jacobs. He was out. He held him for the last 7 to 8 seconds of that fight because he knew he was not going to take anything for chance. He knew that. Like, nope, you're not going to start fearing and flurrying and catch me with some of the 5 or 6 of these damn fast ass punches because he had nothing to lose. Because that was the last opportunity that Jacobs or Canelo had, or Jacobs really, because I think Canelo knew he had it in the bag. But it was the last string of hope. Last desire, the last 7 seconds of your life, basically, to make history, to make legacy, to be unified. And Canelo held him because he knew, nope, don't have to do anything else in this fight. I'm going to hold him up, let that bell ring. Okay, I win. Cool. Ding, ding. All right, jump on the ropes. Celebrate. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. And of course, Jacobs felt he won. But he said, he's a gentleman. He said, well, let me go back so I can make another assessment of what happened. Because if you're in there and you're landing punches too, just like the other fighter, why wouldn't you think anything else? Why wouldn't you think otherwise? So, the fight, it was a good fight. I think Jacobs could have done more. But he was about 4 rounds too late. 116, 112, right? It's about right. That's about right. But anyway, that's me wrapping it up. I don't think it's any kind of robbery or anything like that. Because, this doesn't, no, that wasn't a robbery. It was a good competitive fight. But one man did, a little bit more than the other guy, honestly. But again, like I told you guys, I'm waiting for someone to beat Canelo by decision. You know what I'm saying? So if he loses, he will get that respect from people thinking that he gets fights just because of who he is and who he's signed by. So anyway, that's my words on that, guys. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.